Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for a very exciting episode. This one we're going to be talking about the top 10 fantasy rookies this year. And this is where you're going to see where I rank your favorite rookie going into 2025 2026. Before I jump into my list, guys, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And very exciting news, guys. I just opened signups to the Fantasy Tipped Members League. So if you do want to join that and play against me and Max this year, go down in the description below and sign up for my Patreon. And then just message me that you're interested in the league and I'll put you right in. On top of that, if you join the Patreon, you get certain perks like early access videos, and you get the DM with me and ask me any fantasy hockey questions you want whenever you want. Let's jump right into the video now, guys. And I wanted to start with number 10, but I couldn't leave out number 11, an honorable mention here, Michael Misa. Now, the only reason he's not in the top 10 is because he's not a lock to make the team by any means. But wow, he was a second overall pick and got 134 points in 65 games in the OHL. Like, that's crazy. Now, if he does make the team, he could shift Will Smith to the wing and play with him on second line in San Jose, and then he could have value. The problem is a lot of people are actually projecting him to probably not make the team this year, so we're going to have to see how that turns out in training camp. I know he is motivated to do so. We're just going to have to see if he ends up actually making the team, or if San Jose thinks it's best to give him one more year in the juniors. That brings us to number 10 on the list, and that's Sam Dickinson, also of the San Jose Sharks. And Sam Dickinson is a very, very exciting prospect. He was drafted 11th overall in 2024, and last year, as a defenseman, he got 91 points in 55 games for London in the OHL, and then proceeded to win the Memorial Cup. If he makes the team this year, he's got a legitimate shot of manning the number 1 power play in San Jose. If he does, that could definitely give him some fantasy value. It's worth noting that San Jose's power play was the 7th worst in the league last year, and he's definitely also, like Michael Misa, not a lock to make the team. If he doesn't make the team, I think Klingberg will man that top power play in San Jose. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him in training camps and preseason and see how he's doing, and if he's doing well, then he might just make the team and could have some fantasy value. At number 9, I have Alexander Nikishin. He's probably going to have a great season, but he's probably not going to get that many offensive opportunities. And even though I think he's going to be in contention maybe for the Calder, he's probably not going to get that many points. Why? Well, he's probably not going to get power play 1, at least not to start the year, because Shane Gostisbehere is still on the team. So he probably won't score that many fantasy points just because of the lack of power play time. But he could still be a very good real-life defenseman, as well as a potential solid floor defenseman. It remains to be seen, but in the few games he played in the playoffs last year, he recorded a very nice floor of hits with 17 hits in 4 games. And in the KHL last year, he averaged just over 2 hits per game with 128 hits in 61 games, which is 12th in the entire KHL, while also recording 127 blocked shots, which was good enough for 13th best in the KHL. So he could have some decent peripheral floor, but I'm not expecting a lot of points. The next guy on the list is Ville Koivunen of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And in a very small sample size last year, he recorded 7 assists, 0 goals in 8 games. He was really impressive in that small sample size, and once again could play on a line with Sidney Crosby to start the year. And with the lack of depth in Pittsburgh, he could also realistically be on power play 1 as well. I know a lot of Pens fans are high on this guy, and I'd love to see him translate that to the NHL level this year for a full season. The next guy on this list is Ryan Leonard, and he is an immensely talented prospect, but he's had a very slow start to his NHL career so far in the limited amount of games that he's played. Last year, he played 9 games, got only 1 goal, and had 0 assists. He played also in the playoffs, played 8 games, had 0 goals, and only 1 assist. So basically, through 17 games, he only has 2 points. It's not exactly amazing, but he does have all the tools to put it together at the NHL level. I think he just has to show it this year. If he showcases his skill in the preseason, Washington could realistically opt to put him into the top 6, where he could really shine. But that's definitely not a guarantee. And Washington's top 6 is pretty good. There's some good players in there. So he'd have to really shine in the preseason for them to put him there. Otherwise, on the third line, yeah, he can put up some points, but he's not really going to be that fantasy relevant until somebody gets injured. The next guy on this list is Sam Rinzel of the Chicago Blackhawks. And Rinzel should immediately be on power play 1 to start the season. He was there at the end of the year last year, and he looked really, really good. In 9 games played, he scored 5 assists, no goals, but that's a really, really good start as a rookie to your NHL career, and I don't know why Chicago wouldn't start him on the top power play. I'm pretty sure everyone's projecting him to start there next year. And yeah, Chicago is not the best team in the world, which is why he's only ranked at number 6, but a top power play defenseman pretty much always has fantasy value, and I'm projecting him to pretty much be a guaranteed top power play defenseman, so I like him a decent amount. The next guy on this list is another guy who's pretty much guaranteed to have at least some value, and that's Yaroslav Askarov of the San Jose Sharks. Yes, he's still a rookie. No, he didn't play enough games last year to be considered a second-year player. So, Askarov is playing for like the worst team in the NHL, right? The Sharks are not a good team by any means, but he is their starting goalie. Yeah, he'll probably split a little bit with Nedeljkovic so that they don't absolutely wear the guy out, but he's one of the highest rated goalie prospects in the world, and he definitely is capable of showing it in the NHL, and we might even see it this year. Obviously, he's not that high on my list because he is playing for the Sharks, so, he's probably not going to win a lot of games, but, if you're in a super deep league, most starting goalies are going to be owned. So Askarov is not the worst option in the world to get you some fantasy points, especially if you're in a points-based league. The next guy on this list at number 4 is Zane Parik. He's an immensely talented kid, and the Flames know that. He's probably going to slot immediately onto power play 1, which sucks a little bit for Mackenzie Weegar, but this guy is a really, really talented kid. And yeah, he's probably going to get you quite a bit of power play points this season. I do have him as a top 4 defenseman this year at number 40 about that. But the ceiling is a lot higher than that. At this ADP that he's going at 229.1, it's an absolute no-brainer late in the draft. There's all upside, no downside. I think that's a pretty good value, especially with that ESPN ADP. He may not end up going that low, but I really don't mind that. At number 3, I have Jimmy Snuggerud, and I think he has a legitimate, real chance to win the Calder. Now, last year in 7 games played, he scored a goal and 3 assists, and also shot the puck 10 times. That's not bad. It's a pretty great start to his NHL career. In the playoffs, he scored another 2 goals and 2 assists in 7 games. He probably is going to immediately slot into the top 6, and maybe even the top line in St. Louis, and he probably also slots in on the top power play. So with all that great deployment, yeah, like I said, there's a real good chance he can win the Calder this year, and I think he's going to have himself a really nice year playing with the top guys in St. Louis. My number 2 rookie of the year is going to Zeev Buim. He's going to slot immediately onto power play 1 in Minnesota, just like Zane Parik. He's an immensely talented kid. Like, he's so good. If you've seen him play before, you know. And again, like Zane Parik, I see him as a top 40 defenseman this year. He's going to be on a pretty good Minnesota Wild team. On a power play with Kirill Kaprizov, that's a recipe for success. I think his ceiling is a lot higher than a top 40 defenseman, but at the ADP that he's going currently in ESPN at 228, that's an absolute no-brainer. I do think he's going to end up going higher, when you're actually going to be drafting, but still, he's probably going to go pretty late, and there's virtually no risk in drafting the guy late in your drafts. And at number 1, who else would it be but Ivan Demidov of the Montreal Canadiens, my favorite team, and he's just an absolute stud. Tore up the Russian leagues last year, and he's somebody that's the favorite to win the Calder Trophy last year. Look at any betting sites. They got Ivan Demidov as the favorite to win the Calder. Last year in the regular season, he only played 2 games at the end of the year, scored a goal and an assist, 5 shots and 2 hits. Really not a bad start. In the playoffs, he slowed down a little bit with only 2 assists in 5 games, 2 shots, and 8 hits. But the nice thing to see here is that he is shooting and he is hitting. So that should give you a decent floor next year. And he should put up plenty of points playing on Montreal's second line with a guy like Zachary Bolduc, as well as the top power play in Montreal with Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, and Lane Hudson. He's a guy who I'm very, very excited to watch this coming season, and you should be too. His ADP right now in ESPN is 190 plus, and at that range, it's definitely an okay thing to take a flyer on Ivan Demidov. I don't normally recommend drafting rookies because people tend to overhype them and pick them too early, but there is literally nobody on this list, at least at the moment, that's going that early in drafts. So taking a flyer on literally any of these guys late in your draft cannot be a bad idea. It's all upside, very little risk. Just a few honorable mentions now. Maxim Shabanov of the New York Islanders, Jesper Wallstedt of Minnesota Wild could potentially have some fantasy value if Gustafsson gets injured. Levi Merilainen, great goalie on the Ottawa Senators, could have some value if Ullmark gets injured. Axel Sandin Palika of the Detroit Red Wings, really talented kid. We'll have to see if he makes the team. Isaac Howard and Matthew Savoy of the Edmonton Oilers, depending where they play, they could have some value. Easton Cowan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, if he makes the team. And Andrew Cristal is also a very, very talented kid. And he's definitely got an outside shot to make the team, but definitely could shine if he does. And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Who do you think is going to be the #1 fantasy rookie this year? Drop a comment down below and tell me who you think it is. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.